What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Irving Plaza for the Jonathan Davis Show, and we are here with Palisades.
Yes. What's up? I'm Lou. I sing in Palisades. Nice to see all you guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Your latest record is self-titled, and it's been out in 2017,
Yep.
so it's been out for a while now. How was the recording for it been, and the record cycle been this far?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's honestly been like the best reception that we've ever had from an album so far. The recording process is extremely enlightening, stressful, but invigorating, emotional. That's how I can describe it. We pretty much we isolated ourselves from the world. We got off of social media. We deleted all of our stuff. Didn't touch Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, nothing at all. For the whole 2 months we were in the studio, we wanted just to be with ourselves, with the five of us and our producer and the music, and we really pushed ourselves in the studio. We went from a member change before that to this new album, and for the first time we were really honest with ourselves and really vulnerable. And we had a quote on the wall that Aaron wrote the whole time and said, excuse me, it said, "No great art comes from comfort."
Wow.
And it was true. We talked about things that were very real and true to us, and pushed ourselves to be really emotional, and that's what came out of it. So
You kind of, in a way, just sort of answered my next question, because what I wanted to ask you is, because this is your third record, at this point in your career, has every record that you made been a completely different experience, or do you at this point kind of have a formula in the recording process?
It's definitely been a different experience. I feel like each time writing, each time recording, also two different experiences as well. When you're sitting at home and you're writing all the songs, each time you when you start as a beginner, like a novice, you're not really sure. You're trying to keep it safe and do it, and then as you get older, you get more experience. You know what works, what doesn't, and you also kind of push yourself more artistically as well. And especially with recording, each producer we've been to has been a totally different experience. You know what I mean? So I like to view each album as a growing point in Palisades, growing up as a person, as Palisades was this person. Each from being a kid to teenage years to young adult. So, maturing even further now. So, yeah.
Of course. And you guys have played with a variety of different bands.
Yeah.
The last time you guys came here, I think, was during your tour with Lacey Sturm and Stitched Apart,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's very different from touring with Jonathan Davis of Korn.
Yeah.
And, you've played with Nothing More and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on who you're playing with, how different of an audience do you see out in the crowd?
The audience is definitely ever changing. You can always tell the different fans from different tours and stuff. But ever since we kind of started diving more into the rock radio kind of world, it's been amazing. We see our fans coming over from the Warped Tour world, and our fans that we've grown with as a family since the beginning, and then initiating new fans that are from this different world. And it's been this awesome experience. It's this cultivation of all different people that just love Palisades, which has been really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, because you just went in so depth on the making of the record. When you were in the studio making music and, playing it and everything, practicing, versus playing it live, is there a completely different experience you have with a certain song?
For me, I think in the beginning when you're starting to play the songs live, just from an unemotional point, it's always tricky. You want to make it sound exactly it does on the album, but then when you get comfortable with the songs, it's I made a post the other day saying that lately when I play these songs live, it's like I'm writing the words down for the first time again. And that connection that I have with all these songs, and all of us have with all these songs, is something that really means a lot to us. When I'm screaming a part, I'm not screaming it because oh, this is the scream part and I got to sound tough here.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's the exact emotion that I was going through that made me want to write these words the very first time. So being able to have that emotional connection with the songs we're writing, and that our fans are having with the emotional connection that we've written, that's really something to be said on its own.
Absolutely. And being a vocalist, do you have to hear music before you could think of a lyrical concept, or does sometimes you think of a concept and the band writes according to that?
It goes both ways. For instance, our song Dark on the album, that started with just a line that I had. I was it was a text that I received, and it was is it dark in your room? And I was like, it went on from that to like grow. And I was like, yo, that would be like, I feel like this line could be like a really cool like line. And then it went deeper. The song wound up being about, anxiety and depression and my sister and how she deals with those things in her daily life, and it kind of just took form on its own. A lot of other times, like with Let Down, that started off as a musical baby from like Matt and Xavier and Aaron writing it, and I went in there and kind of heard the song and just kind of wrote to it. So it's both. It's inspiration hits at any moment,
Yeah.
So
Well, it's funny because I always thought inspiration sometimes could be like a double-edged sword.
Totally.
Because, like, I was having a discussion one time with my tattoo artist, and she says if I only tattooed when I was inspired, I wouldn't pay my bills. But at the same time, when you are taking inspiration from something, it seems like that does really help the music.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing is that, like, creativity can be drawn from anywhere, and it's tough when you're an artist, like the tattoo artist said. Like, you want to be inspired, but you got to pay the bills too. With writing lyrics and writing music, it's a little bit different, but it's almost very similar too. It's like you can't push something out of you. When you write lyrics that are pushed out of you, it's like so fake and disingenuine, and it doesn't give you the same feeling as like something someone's truly been through. You know what I mean? And so we always try to, really sit down. That's why we took ourselves offline. When you're forced to sit in a room with your own thoughts and only the 5 other people that are with you, you dig up some stuff that you wouldn't have thought of, being distracted on social media. And honestly, that Childish Gambino music video that just came out, that This Is America video, it shows that, like, the distractions of the world keep you away from what's actually happening.
Absolutely.
So.
And, just because you see it on your phone doesn't mean you actually have the experience.
Yeah, totally. And it's like getting back to the roots of, like, why people tick, why people make music, why people write, why people hurt, why people have pain, why people have happiness and joy. That's the root of music. We sing because we're happy. We play music because we're happy or sad or depressed. And, going back to, like, the dawn of music, like, it's a feeling. It's not a check. It's a feeling.
Yeah,
So.
Absolutely. Now, what I was always curious about is because I've heard fans like of your band like really take, like, they say, oh, this song really helped me through this time. But I know that a lot of your lyrics also come from your own experiences.
Sure.
And you're expressing yourself. But when you hear like a fan say that song helped me through this time, even if it wasn't completely related
Sure.
to what does that give you a different feeling on that song altogether?
Yeah, well, the best thing about music is subjective. Like, there's songs that you listen to that you feel like, oh wow, this is what this song's about, but it's not. It's about something else. But as long as that song made you feel something, that's the purpose of the song. So many people have come up and said, like, Through Hell made me feel like this, which isn't necessarily what I was going through when I wrote the song. But if you can take those lyrics and relate it to your life in any way that you possibly can, then that's what our job is. We're here as like a therapy session for anybody that needs it. You know what I mean?
And it's really incredible how you make art to actually help people, but at the same time you're helping yourself.
Totally.
There's been many cases where, an artist may have helped other people, but they drove themselves so crazy in the process that they, it wasn't helping them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's certain times where I go on stage where, it's been a rough few years for me, and, especially for a lot of us in the band, it's a growing process, and, there's times where I go on stage and that's my therapy. Like, screaming those words, yelling, singing that, getting all of that out is like, they say you always want to like run off into the ocean and just scream into the ocean when you're upset or something like that. Yell into a pillow or something. Luckily on stage I get a microphone and I can say what I want to scream out there, so it helps me a lot too.
Absolutely. Now, this question may not be as deep as the other
okay,
ones.
It's okay.
But like, I was curious because you have very heavy songs and you have very melodic songs.
Sure.
And as I mentioned, like playing with a variety of different bands, depending on who you tour with, you sometimes have to like adjust your set list.
Yeah, I mean, music is still like a business still. You gotta, if we were playing some of our older songs to certain crowds, it wouldn't necessarily go over so well. But I think the most important thing is just, you still got to be true to Palisades, what Palisades is. You know what I mean? Look at Let Down, for example. Who would have thought that song would have been on Octane or on rock radio, but yet we play Welcome to Rockville, Louder Than Life, Carolina Rebellion, and there's 20,000 people singing back, You're a Letdown.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of our like lighter songs, but and we're playing it with Jonathan Davis. You know what I mean? And that's like, it's a cool thing, you know? So yeah, sometimes you kind of, you want to feel the crowd out, you know, you want to do that, but as long as you're not losing who you are, then I think it's fine.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you have like the perfect bridge. I've always used All That Remains as an example one time because like, they have pretty much ballads, but at the same time they have the most vicious, heavy songs. So, so it works both ways for you.
Yeah. I mean, for us too. I mean, someone tweeted today, actually, I'm pretty sure there is a Palisades song for every feeling on the emotional spectrum. And that was like such a cool compliment to me because I feel like that is what Palisades is. It's like we got songs for when you're high and when you're low, when you're in the middle, when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're happy, when you want to dance. Like, not everyone's angry 24/7. Not everyone's happy 24/7. Not everyone's sad 24/7. Yeah. And, I feel like, especially on the self-titled, we have songs that make you feel every step of the way of, and that's awesome. That's what I want to listen to.
Yeah, which it's great that you're able to make that because, I mean, I think you and I could both say that there has been certain albums that are just so consistent, and nothing wrong with consistency, but after a while you just feel so angry that you're just exhausted listening to it.
It's it's different strokes for different folks, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, some bands that's what works for them, and then, for us, this works for us. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And one final question I wanted to ask is, I grew up about like 5 minutes from the Palisades Mall. I don't know if anybody ever like associated you
all
with
the time, yeah.
And but you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, are from like North Jersey?
Yeah, like Central Jersey, yeah.
Okay, so not like Bergen County or
we live in Woodbridge.
Okay.
So like Island, right around there. It's 40-minute train ride into the city. Close enough. It's always a big debate where we live. It's like, is it Central? Is it North? We say it's Central. Some people say it's North. I don't know.
Yeah, Jersey. It's
Jersey, yeah. So.
But I know that you guys formed in like 2010, 11, around there. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a lot of history of amazing bands from Jersey, whether it be Dillinger Escape Plan or God Forbid. The hardcore movement was pretty much started there. So, but being a newer band coming from Jersey, was there like a scene that you got affiliated in, or did you kind of have to like go outside your state lines?
Well, for me, I'm pretty interesting because I actually grew up in Florida. I moved to Jersey about 6 years ago when the band started, but I did live in New Jersey before Florida. So I lived in South Jersey next to Philly. That's why I'm like an Eagles fan and all that stuff. So
all right,
yeah,
I don't watch football,
okay.
So any Punishers, he's the Eagles fan, not me.
But yeah, so My Chemical Romance was a huge one. Obviously, bands like Thursday from Jersey, Hidden Plainview, like a bunch of like kind of the emo stuff that I grew up listening to. But growing up in Florida as well, had a bunch of experience around that kind of music too. Like Day to Remember, and like there's a bunch of big Florida scene bands too. But I think the culmination of all of us, because all of us listen to very different music. But
awesome.
At the same time, we all appreciate each other's music and draw. That's why Palisades sounds the way Palisades does. Yeah. Palisades doesn't just sound like a rock band. It doesn't sound like a pop band. It doesn't sound like an electronic band. It doesn't sound like a heavy band. We sound like all of that together. Because I grew up listening to emo music, hardcore, hip hop, pop music, lots of pop music. Everyone grew up listening like nu metal and rock and like classics and. I love 50s music and disco. Brandon loves like country and like, everything. So we draw inspiration from a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff.
Which is great. And because, like certain bands like that I heard from Jersey, like, I remember, Unearth playing at this day and, before they became big, and you hear like all this. I remember Jordan Mancino from As They Lay Dying actually said it, like a lot of like those scenes are very incestuous.
Well, it's like what we've noticed is that a lot of times people get caught up in their genres and especially their subgenres, which is like the weirdest thing to me. Yeah. Like people are so particular about their subgenres almost more than their regular genres that it's like
I'm so sick of that. It's like you name like this obscure subgenre and then you go on Wikipedia and there's only like 3 bands.
For me, it's like I think genres in general are just stupid. I think good music is just good music.
Absolutely.
Like you can find good music anywhere. Country, polka, like disco, like 50s music, like anything, man. A good song is a good song is a good song.
Yeah.
And there's no doubting that, you know.
Absolutely. Quote from Danny Diablo: "There's only two types of music: good music and bad music,
That's
and it's up
true.
to you to decide which
Yeah,
is which."
That's a very true quote, man.
Well, I want to truly thank you
Hey,
so much for
no
your
problem,
time.
man. Thank you.
Is there any tours coming up or new music that you're allowed to
Yeah.
promote?
As soon as we're done with this tour, we're actually heading right into the studio with the legend himself, Howard Benson. And
Sweet.
we're gonna be doing the brand new album. Like literally, as soon as this tour's over, we go right to LA, and we'll be there for about a month and a half. So we've got about like 25 demos already done from our home studio. We write on the road constantly in hotels and in our bus and wherever we can, we write. And so we'll be there for about a month and a half doing the new album. Super, super excited about it. And after that, expect Palisades doesn't stop touring ever. We tour about like 10 months to 11 months out of the year, nonstop.
Damn.
So we're just gonna keep going. As soon as we're out the studio, we're gonna have a real big fall and winter. So and the rest of the summer. So
Awesome.
keep a lookout.
Well, thank you so much, Lou.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you so much.
Everybody, we are here with Lou from Palisades. Catch them on their tour with Jonathan Davis of Korn and new music coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.
Yep.